Want some toxic advice? The moment you get comfortable being mislabeled a villain, you gain immunity against 90% of manipulation tactics. One major manipulation tactic is probably being used against you right now without you even knowing. It's called fog. And if there's a toxic person in your life, you've been living in the fog, maybe even for years, without you ever realizing it. Fog stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. It's the reason it feels impossible to simply get up and walk out of a toxic relationship. You are being held emotionally hostage. And I'm going to teach you the blueprint of how this tactic works so you can dismantle it from the inside. Now think about this. Why is it that whenever you're around the toxic person in your life, your parent, a partner, friend, maybe even someone at work, it feels like you can't think or see things clearly. Reality feels blurry and distant. You feel isolated and insulated. It's like you can't see a way out of the positions they put you in. That is not an accident. That is the fog tactic. Now, fear, obligation, and guilt doesn't necessarily come with overt threats. Most of the time, it's subtle. So subtle, you don't even know what's happening to you. But fog is easy to spot when you dismantle the tactics step by step. Here's what it looks like. First, there's fear. You will be trained to fear what this person will do if you don't comply. If you make the mistake of simply saying no or not being available, you will be met with emotional punishment, tantrums, sulking, withdrawal, guilt trips. If you ever try to pull away or put yourself first, they will say and do things that make you scared and uncomfortable. Threats like, well, if you're not going to be here, maybe I'll do something really bad, until you start to feel like it's your responsibility to be available at all times, because your submission is the only difference between them being happy and them completely exploding. This leads to obligation. They've made you so afraid of what happens when you're not there that you now feel responsible for their needs, even if it means putting them above your own. Even if you don't have the time, money, or energy it takes to fulfill this person's needs, they make you believe that it is your obligation to self-sacrifice for them. Doesn't matter if it means betraying yourself. Doesn't matter if helping them means crossing your own boundaries. It is expected of you to say yes, because saying no to them makes you a bad person. This leads us to guilt. They will make you feel like a villain for saying no, for putting yourself first, for setting a boundary. They will act like it is a personal betrayal. You will have to apologize for hurting them. You will be groveling for forgiveness for something that is completely normal in a healthy relationship. When you're deep in the fog, your boundaries start to feel like luxuries that you can't afford. Your needs feel selfish. You are living in servitude of another person, not out of love, but out of fear, obligation, and guilt. Doesn't matter whether it's a partner, parent, sibling, boss, or friend. The result is always the same. Emotional exhaustion, the quiet erosion of your self-esteem until you are defenseless and easy to control. So how do you start clearing the fog? Well, this is psychological warfare. So you don't need to pick up a weapon to defend yourself. You need to go internal. Understand that your fear of being called bad, of being mislabeled as the villain, is something that actual villains will weaponize against you. They know how badly you need to be seen as nice and sweet. They know how scared you are of being misunderstood or misjudged, and that is exactly what they will use to control you. You need to take the bullets out of that gun. You need to get comfortable being mislabeled as a villain. Give yourself permission to be selfish, because people who actually love you would never call you that for prioritizing your needs. In fact, they would never put you in the position where you have to break yourself for their benefit to begin with. And if no one's ever told you this, you are allowed to say no. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to set boundaries. People who actually love you don't view those things as evil acts worthy of punishment. The moment you realize that is the moment the fog will start to clear. Want some older sister advice? Not every fight is a real fight. Some fights are traps. And toxic people, narcissists, manipulators, they are experts at laying those traps. It's called the quicksand method. And if you've ever been naive enough to think you could have a healthy conflict with a toxic person, you've experienced this method firsthand. So here's how it works, what it looks like, and how you can defend yourself. The quicksand method is a dirty tactic to use in a fight. It's about trapping you in a position where the more you fight, the faster you sink. Now, let me tell you something as your older sister. Toxic people thrive on chaos. Remember that. That's why they always want to escalate a situation. They like it when you are flustered and yelling and crying and defending yourself and explaining in circles. The more you explain, the more hooks they have to twist into your words and pull you deeper into the quicksand. Now, all you need to know when you enter an argument with these people is that they are not like you. They do not have the spine or integrity to ever own up to what they did. So when they are entering that argument, they're not there to resolve conflict or hear your side or make peace. Peace is not an option. They only have one mission. Their single objective when they enter that argument is to destabilize you so they can discredit the valid things you're saying, so that they can call you crazy and call you emotional. That's why they do the things they do. That's why they gaslight you. That's why they call you names. That's why they accuse you of wrongdoing and antagonize you and trigger you on purpose. And why do they all do this? You think it's a random accident that they all follow the same playbook? No, these are tactics that work. This is deliberate. It is bait. They are luring you into a trap, luring you to the quicksand, where the more you cry and yell and beg and fight and defend yourself, the faster you sink and the more immobilized you become. I told you it's a dirty tactic. This is their way of punishing you. You didn't even want an apology. You just wanted some acknowledgement, maybe a little accountability. But to them, that was a personal attack, and they are going to come back at you with everything they have. This is their way of training you so that the next time you want to say something, you will be silent. Now, the second you let them get to you, they get into your head, the moment you lose your cool, you lose the fight, because now you're no longer focused on their actions and behavior. You're distracted. The only thing you can focus on is keeping your head above ground, defending yourself against every accusation, deflection, and smoke bomb they throw at you until you are so exhausted, you give up. Now, if any of that sounded familiar, what the fuck do you do the next time someone's trying to use the quicksand method on you? You follow one simple rule, the broken record rule. Here's how it works. Instead of following them on every tangent and reacting to every jab and defending yourself against every accusation, you pick one calm, clear point and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Here's an example. They say, so what, you're just going to ignore all the things you've done wrong? You don't say, like what? What have I done wrong? That's what they want you to say. This isn't an improv class. Instead, you're going to say, I'm here to discuss the way you spoke to me earlier. And then they go, well, what about yesterday when you acted like a bitch? You don't say, what? No, I didn't. And don't call me that. I don't like that word. Instead, you say, I'm here to discuss the way you spoke to me earlier. You are not reacting. You're not giving them any new material. You are not escalating the situation. You are standing your ground like a brick wall. Eventually, this will exhaust them. They will realize they can't take you off topic. They're not going to get the explosion out of you that they want, and they will drop the quicksand method. Now, here's the real tea. I'm just teaching you how to defend yourself in the moment against psychological warfare. But ultimately, you are never going to be able to get humanity and accountability from a narcissist. The same way you can't teach a cockroach how to compose a symphony. There is no space for these people in your life. You need to cut them out. And if you can't do that, you need to create as much space between you and them as possible. You need to structure your boundaries in a way that anyone who tries to bury you in the sand will end up choking on your fucking dust.
There's a couple things that people do before they try to destiny swap with you. And I thought that I'd mention it and bring it up because it's definitely something that people from my past have been trying to do. If the person is very jealous of you or they want something that you have, like they get very envious and they want it for themselves and they try to take it, they will make sure that they turn everybody on you by lying. then they will say absolutely any and everything before they go and do it. They will make sure that you have no support and then they have all of it. When they turn your friends on you and those friends of yours become their friends, that's when they start gathering their little smear campaigns. After they gather the smear campaigns and you know, the people that used to be your friends that they later turned on you, they then bring anybody else in it as well and turn them against you blind. Then when you start speaking up for yourself, the second thing that they like to do is they like to call you crazy. They like to call you delusional. They like to try to say that you're mentally ill and that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, to humiliate you. This is all part of the humiliation ritual that they have to perform. Not only do they turn people on you by line, to damn near half the city, half the fucking world, then they want to go around and call you crazy for knowing what you know. Speaking up for yourself. They don't want you to speak up for yourself because as soon as you do that, it's going to expose who the fuck they are. The third thing that they do is they start acting like you. They start dressing like you. They look at your clothes and they like to screenshot things and basically reverse Google search it on the internet to try to figure out where you got that shirt, where you got that necklace, what kind of necklace is this, you know, asking Google, what kind of necklace is this, what kind of shirt is she wearing, what kind of outfit is this, where did she get this from? Then they go and they buy it for themselves and then they wear it. Then, 1:44, as I said that on the timer, then they start copying the way you laugh. They start copying the ways in which you talk. If you have an accent, they try to copy that. Normally around this time when they start copying you, they start trying to act like you. They start researching spirituality and or whatever you believe in. Once they start acting like this, usually people will start waking up and realizing, yeah, this person is a copycat. But if the people are asleep, deaf, dumb, and blind, and they just don't understand it, they're not going to understand it. But a lot of people around this time will realize, damn, this person is really jealous of this person. My thing is, if you're so jealous of somebody, like my thought is, if you're jealous of somebody, if you're that envious and jealous, why do you try to copy them? If you claim and you go around and you say, oh, I hate this person, I hate this bitch, I hate this dude, this, that, and third, blah, 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 why do you try to act like them? If you hate them so much, why is their name still in your mouth? If you hate them so much, why do you try to copy everything about them? I know if I didn't like somebody, I wouldn't be copying them. I wouldn't want to be nothing like them. But people literally go to the extreme when they are jealous of you, and it goes like to borderline obsession. And this obsession becomes toxic. And then they want to try to, you know, gather life insurance policies. They want to do all of this stuff and put all of this stuff in your name to try to target you, to end you. And then when they end you, they now take over. And they basically suck all of your energy from you. And they try to be like you. So yeah, definitely make sure that you're protected out here in these streets and make sure that you stay prayed up, because there are people out here that are weird like that. They go around, they swear up and down, oh, I hate this bitch. I'm so, like, I don't like this bitch, just that and there, but the whole time they be secretly jealous and envious of you, and they like you. They just have to put on this facade or this image to the world that they don't like you. And they basically have to do this to prove their point. In which, in the end, the point is never proven. Because every single thing that they are saying about you is not adding up. And I think that in the end, people are going to start to see that that person is jealous of you and wanted your life. They wanted your light. They wanted your life. Life, all that. They wanted to be you. They wanted your man. They wanted your ex-boyfriend. They wanted your car. They wanted your clothes. They wanted what you was wearing. They want to know what you smell like so they can go and smell like that. They needed to know what you laughed like, how you laughed, how you talked, your accent, all that. But if you were a real chosen one, if you were a real one, and you really divinely protected, they will know that they cannot take any of your gifts. They cannot take whatever God has blessed you with. You're one in a million. You're one of a kind. And can't nobody act like you. I know that we live in a world where everybody's following trends. Everybody's following behind the next person. They got all these little cliques and all these little groups and shit like that. And they follow the agendas and the Hollywood rituals and all that shit. But you stand out because you're different. But I just thought that I'd get on here and talk about that and express my mind and tell y'all that this is how people destiny swap. This is how people copy you. A lot of them are copycats. A lot of them watch you. And a lot of people go on social media. A lot of them go on social media and the first thing that they see is your post. And they get mad and they be like, why doesn't this bitch stop posting? When would this bitch give up? Never. Never.
Ever notice when you eat ultra-processed food, from chips and cereal to fast food burgers and donuts, after the first bite, everything kind of turns to mush in your mouth? That's not by accident. So let's talk about what purpose it serves. Again, this is my series where I share interesting facts I've learned while reading for research as a food scholar. This one is from ultra-processed people. Softness is a near universal quality when it comes to ultra-processed food. Even though you might not categorize some of the foods I listed as soft because they're marketed as crunchy or crispy, sticky, and spongy, the fundamental base of their construction is a pulverized blob, usually made up of some kind of starch. Why does this matter? Well, when foods are really soft, or what the author refers to as pre-chewed, it makes it way easier to eat. For example, you can easily finish a McDonald's burger in under a minute. Not only does this encourage us to eat a lot faster, it makes it harder for our brains to calculate how much we've actually eaten and send signals telling us to stop. In one study, researchers found that the combination of softness in ultra-processed food, as well as their energy density, caused participants to eat 17 more calories per minute than those eating an unprocessed diet. The confusion of cues in our brain also causes confusion in our bodies. Take Pringles as an example. Its saddle-like shape aligns very well with our tongue, so almost every taste bud we have is in contact. Then when we chew it, it fractures unevenly, something that food engineers would call catastrophic failure. This, alongside the high umami content that is pumped in using synthetic flavor, prompts our bodies to expect a more nutritional food to enter our system rather than a little bit of potato starch. So what do? We reach for another and another and another in that quest for the expected nutrition. Not only are these soft, ultra-processed foods bad for our health, they're literally changing our bones. Bones need to be used to grow. Since our foods now don't need to be chewed that much, it's unsurprising that more people, especially children, have jaws that are actually too small for their face. Now, you might be thinking, well, the solution is just to make things more chewy, right? But that's exactly the cycle that big food wants us to be trapped in. It's the genius of reformulation, offering solutions for problems that they themselves created. Adding gums to make food more chewy, adding probiotics so the foods don't hurt our gut microbiome as much, adding artificial sugar so that the foods aren't as calorie dense. But as I discussed in my last video, technological improvements always come with their own biases and unintended consequences. Relying on big food to care for our health will never work out for us because the solutions they offer aren't meant to resolve anything. They're meant to sell us more product. What we need is less corporate control in our food system and more power in the hands of the people so we can decide for ourselves how and what to eat.
I'm over here just LOLing because this Tiffany's plate trend is back and it's cracking me up. I've had no less than 15 messages from you guys asking me like what my thoughts are on it. Should I be eating it? Is it a good thing? And I'm like, hell yes, it's a good thing. I do this literally on like a regular basis. It's just funny that it's like back and I'm like, let's break it down. So this right here packs in over 50 grams of protein, a ton of fiber, which are the two most important things if you are on a fat loss journey, a weight loss journey. You need to be volume eating to get in more fiber and getting in more protein. Both of those are going to help keep you fuller, which is great. Like this is going to keep me full for literally hours. So I have strawberries. I have a whole green pepper here. We have a chicken sausage, a bunch of carrots, 2 hard-boiled eggs. And basically what you do, if you guys aren't familiar with this, is what Tiffany did. She has her cottage cheese and mustard and literally just dips shit in it and then eats it. That's it. It's so fucking good. If you don't like cottage cheese, like you're fucking missing out. Give it a try. Do it again. It is such an easy, great weight loss tool food to eat, especially mixed with this mustard. I'm like, this is fantastic. And then we got hard-boiled eggs. Dip that shit right in there. And then we have some green peppers. Like you can have fun with this. Whatever you like to do, fucking do it. The only thing that I will not dip in here is these with the mustard. I usually do strawberries. I love strawberries inside cottage cheese, but not with the mustard. You guys are looking for a high protein, easy lunch, your go-to thing for this summer. This needs to be it. It is so easy, quick to put together, high protein. This just goes to show you that it doesn't have to be overcomplicated to hit 40, 50 grams of protein for lunch. This took maybe like 2 minutes to throw together. And this is going to leave me full for like 3 to 4 hours probably. So cheers.
The God-fearing father of 6, whose 11-year-old daughter just gave birth at home, explain to me why you were so shocked when they asked for your DNA. And it's been 2 days and the results are in, and come to find out, you are the father of your 11-year-old daughter's child that she just had to give birth at home because y'all wouldn't bring her to the hospital. Explain to me that. And I also want to know why people are defending the mother of this 11-year-old. Oh, because she's pregnant and is like a month behind her 11-year-old daughter in delivery, and she's about to give birth to her 7th child. Why do we feel bad for her? Because it is very clear that this man was doing whatever he wanted to whomever he wanted and didn't even wear protection because he really was sure he was never going to get caught until his oldest of his 6 currently living children who are out of the womb got pregnant with his child. And the neighbor was the one who was calling, not just because the kids and the animals, but like the entire situation she was concerned about. And no one actually intervened until the parents had to call 911 because they thought the 11-year-old was not going to survive delivering that child at home. Even the grandmother has said this doesn't make any sense. They're trying to make my daughter and son-in-law into monsters, and she has her own theories on who the father is, even though the DNA tests are conclusive. He is 99.9% the biological father of his 11-year-old daughter's child. She doesn't believe it. She thinks there's other things that are going on here. And the fact that she lives across the street from this, and they were saying these kids, these 6 kids, the 11-year-old was the oldest, all the other ones didn't have clothes. They didn't have clothes. The house was full of animal feces. What is your excuse? Did you never go into your daughter's house? Did you never see the state of those kids? For the last year that child has been pregnant, were you unaware that 11-year-old was pregnant? Also going to say you cannot defend anyone, even the grandmother, because no one ever sought medical care for this 11-year-old. Not only did they not ever bring her to the doctor to be checked out while she was pregnant, they pulled her from school so that not even the school authorities could intervene on behalf of this child. It is the most egregious thing to witness. And the fact that this man had the audacity to be shocked, why do you want my DNA?
So today, ICE, unalived, discharged their weapon on somebody they were trying to detain. It's happened. Not surprised it happened today. About 1 p.m. CST. All the information we have right now is directly from ICE. And if you remember a few weeks back, they also discharged their weapon on somebody, and all of the facts that they reported were not true. So I don't really trust their statements, and I'm not going to give them to you. Because they're basically saying the same thing, like they were afraid for their life because the person was trying to get away in their car, and that's why they discharged their weapon. And now somebody is no longer with us because of that. They said this was in line with their training, so that's fucking concerning. And with all the trigger-happy right-wingers right now, many of them being a part of ICE and armed, we're probably going to see a lot more of this coming up here. ICE is now justifying the unaliving of civilians, so...
احكي اللي بقلبك كله يا حجاله اللي برا، احكي للناس اللي برا ايش بدكم؟
ولا العالم يا الله، ولا الدول العربية يجي يتفرج علينا يا الله، ولا الدول يا الله. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل يا رب، حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل يا رب.
Don say, hey, what's up, everybody? So I wanted to share with you today a teaching that was passed on to me quite a few years ago, and with everything that's happening in the world right now, I think it's a really good time to share this. So this is the teaching of the two-legged tribe, and it goes like this. You're gonna meet a lot of people in this lifetime. Some of the people you meet, they're not gonna look like you. They're not gonna speak the same language than you. Some of them might have different political views than you do. And even though we come from many, many different tribes, and we might have a difference of opinions on many, many things, one of the things we can all agree on is that we all come from the same tribe. Every single person in this world comes from that two-legged tribe, which is the human being tribe. And the only way we're gonna move forward is by helping each other, by supporting each other, and educating each other in a good way.
Over here, you're fleecing of America. Look at Donald Trump, and you're fleecing of America, douchebag.
Boston, Massachusetts, this woman's partner gets on public transit with a couple of other minorities, as she put it. This woman saw them and was bothered by the fact that she perceived they were minorities and decided to make it all of their problem as well.
You're fleecing of America. Look over here, you're fleecing of America. Look at Donald Trump, and you're fleecing of America, douchebag. You're done. You're dead. Bitch. I know Donald Trump.
I bet.
I do.
Cool. Bet.
And you and your nasty kids aren't going to be performing another fleecing of America. And I don't know any child support for your nasty rat. You're not getting any child support for your nasty rats, bitch. You're not getting any child support for your nasty rats, bitch.
Yo, bitch, get the out of my face,
No
dog.
problem, ho. No problem, ho. No problem, ho. You're not getting any child support for your rats.
Just for the record, I don't want to hear, oh, she seems drunk. Maybe. Doesn't make any of this okay. If she'd driven a car drunk, killed somebody, that wouldn't be okay. Boston, Massachusetts, someone do me a favor. Tell me who she is.
I can't believe you're not sad about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry. Is it your first time watching the TV channel called What's Happening on Earth every single day? The kids trembling as a reporter shoves a microphone in their face, trying to comprehend the fact that their classmate will never ride the bus with them again, didn't do it for you? Watching human beings stumble through the rubble of Palestine, covered in ash, holding pieces of their loved ones in bags, didn't do it for you? Are you just now tuning in? If I remember correctly, it was the It's Called Dark Humor liberal crowd that made a meme out of the last few moments of a trans teenager's life standing on a ledge. If I remember correctly, the man who pulled a trigger on the environmental protesters who happened to be blocking his daily commute was hailed as a hero for days, as having done pest control. If I remember correctly, you guys thought I can't breathe was a fucking punchline. And yet now, my numbness is a sin. There were no orders to fly flags at half-mast when Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman had her life brutally ended just back in June, but I guess that honor is reserved for the president's favorite podcasters. Tell me, because I actually am genuinely curious, what is so special about this guy that a lot of you have suddenly decided that it's acceptable after all this time to bring up politics at the dinner table? What is so different about him that so many of you were ready to finally disrupt the advertiser-friendly sanctity of your Instagram stories to make a statement? If you decided that this was the moment to cry on camera, I just have to ask, where were your tears before? Is it because you could see your dad in him? Is it because you could see your brother, your uncle, your friend in him, yourself in him, and now you're scared? The thing is, the rest of us have been scared for quite a while now. You're a bit late to the party. There's still a little fruit punch left though, so why don't you grab yourself a cup? Maybe now that it's somebody's life that the collective public apparently deems to have value, maybe you guys are actually ready to start listening. Unfortunately, I have a really horrible feeling that instead, a bunch of innocent people are about to suffer so that Charlie Kirk can be avenged.
If they hung the flags at half-mast every single time there was a school shooting or an act of police brutality, the flags would be at half-mast every single day.